It is now June, which means the June highlights have been released, and in this video, I'll be reviewing all of them. Let's go. Moonlight Forest is the easy highlight for June, and is also Not XZ's first highlight. He's not the only one, as he was also helped by Noomlek and Cody Tong. To start things off, I do like the name of it, as it's very fitting for its atmospheric map. It sounds basic, how it's just a forest during midnight, but the lighting makes it look pretty cool. It's got some reasonable gameplay and decent sight reading, although we do have a couple parts that don't feel beginner friendly, like this ladder jump, and there should be more indication right here so players don't jump on the zipline first, but that's kind of it. It's also well detailed, adding trees and houses in the background. I also really like the OST composed by England. It has a nice calming start and then gets more upbeat throughout the soundtrack. Honestly, not much else to complain about the map. The map is actually good with no genuine issues from what I can think of. Really good map, I like it, A tier. The normal map for this month is Hovering Enclaves, made by Martin Z. We all know who he is, the creator of Dormant Vale, Outlier of Coppa's Carcass, and the one and only Active Volcanic Mines, V4.5, because that version is better. To start things off, the soundtrack, composed by Lux, sounds really good and has a similar theme to Moonlight, where it has a nice calming start, then gets more upbeat throughout the soundtrack. This map also has really good detailing, floating boulders, a nice big atmosphere, a house, and the zipline hangs from a U-shaped rope. The gameplay, on the other hand, I've got a few objections. It does have a tower part, which I've got nothing to complain about, it's just kind of funny, and I also like the use of the teleporter. But aside from those, there is a head hitter right after the third button. One of the escapee placements is kinda duty, in my opinion. It is so unnecessarily long, and there doesn't seem to be any indication in the map, which makes a few parts difficult to sight read. Even though there are problems with the gameplay, that doesn't mean it's a bad map. There's just a few critiques with the gameplay, because in the end, it's a Mar map, it's still really well detailed, very atmospheric, and at least the gameplay isn't full-on inconsistent. A tier. Now we have the hard highlight, which is Strawberry Springs, made by Alcasial, JoJo on That Beat, and Spaghetti in Space. You may not be familiar with any of those names, but that's okay, because the soundtrack was composed by Games Are Just for Fun. Fun fact, this soundtrack is actually Games' favorite that he's ever made, and you know what, I can actually agree with him on this. I love this soundtrack so much. It might not be as good as Submerging Coastland or Irradiating Alpines, but it's top 3 along with those two. And it's not just the soundtrack I love, this entire map itself blows me away. I love the strawberry theme and how detailed it is. The gameplay is just somehow extremely fun to play. I don't know if it's just the soundtrack giving me the energy, but either way, I really enjoy playing this map. And on top of that, the map has such a beautiful atmosphere. Hands down, my favorite highlight of the month. Which is honestly quite interesting considering how it's made by some map makers that people have probably never heard of, which basically just says how underrated the map makers are. Overall, this map is my favorite of the month, S tier. Next is the insane highlight, which is Frozen Settlement, made by Dripperonas, Tire TV, Rotanix, and Gam73. Now, let me tell you something, Drip. This is a great map. Dare I say, the perfect map. It's fun, it's well detailed, it has a great soundtrack composed by our good friend Lemilada. It's just a perfect map altogether, is what I would say if it weren't for the goddamn ice textures that you can slide on. Now don't get me wrong, this is a really good map, definitely my second favorite of the month right behind Strawberry Springs. It has cool timelines, great variants, there's still many things I love about the map. But when it first got highlighted, it took me one too many tries to actually beat because I kept getting screwed over by this stupid ice physics. I don't care if this proves I'm trash at the game, I don't care if Drip thinks I have a skill issue, they can eat my shorts. Every time I play Frozen Settlement, I am always gonna complain about the ice textures. But in the end, Frozen Settlement is still a phenomenal map, and I'm glad that Drip got a highlight, A tier. Now, for the crazy map, we've got Duskland Enigma, made by Krago, who has made other highlights like Onama Views and Steam Palaces. Now, this map, unlike the first 3 highlights, is a lot more intense due to it being a higher rated difficulty. The soundtrack, composed by Lemilada and I'm a Tea Drinker, goes super hard. It's not chill or calming like the others, but it's fire, and I would definitely listen to this. The gameplay is quite enjoyable, but the only critique on this map is the star rating. The only reason it's a 5.5 is the amount of long jumps it contains. Otherwise, this map would instead be fitting for a 5.2 because of how slow the pacing is. Not much to say about the detailing, as it seems like Krago likes to not put too much detailing into the map, which makes it easy to sight read. Probably not the case, but it still looks good no matter what. I truly don't have anything else to say. There's nothing to complain about, but there's also nothing absolutely fantastic. It's just a good map, period. B tier. Finally, the Crazy Plus highlight, Lost City of Gold, made by Noomlek, which is currently his second Crazy crazy plus highlight. If for any reason I sound different from many of the other commentaries, that's because I'm doing this commentary on a different day due to my original script being biased as I hadn't beaten the map yet. But now that I beat it in CM and have fully explored it, I can give it a legitimate rating. It has a soundtrack composed by Meekly, which sounds similar to the V1 soundtrack, except it's 10 times better. It's fitting and it sounds really good. The detailing is similar to Duskland, where it's not very noticeable, but I personally find it quite beneficial because players are able to sight read. The gameplay used to stress me out a lot. I always thought the jumps and the jump lengths felt inconsistent and the pacing was just too fast, but after experimenting with what jumps I should use at certain parts, I've learned to master it very quickly. And the second I beat CM, I went from hating it to liking it. There is one part of the gameplay that I don't like, and that's this part right here. That, my friend, is something called flat siding, and it only happens when I side jump that part, and even though that looks like a 2 million stud gap, I am forced to regularly jump it. It's annoying, but I've learned to master it, and in the end, not only is this better than V1, but it's also actually kinda fun to play. Big thanks to Evan and Just Ducky for helping me grind the map, and now I am on my way to getting the badge in the main game. So overall, Lost City of Gold isn't the best map, but I do think it gets slept on a little too much. Honestly, this map is between A tier and B tier. Overall, we have some pretty good highlights for June. Here's a list of all the highlights from favorite to least favorite. As you can see, Strawberry Springs is my top favorite and Duskland Enigma is my least favorite. Thank you all for watching this video. Feel free to share your opinions in the comments, and I'll see you guys next video. Or if I have a sucky upload schedule, then I'll see you when the July highlights come out. Either way though, I'll see you guys next time. See ya.